This is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And today I want to talk about Hispanics, Latinos, Latinas, whatever they call themselves. I want to talk a little bit about why they're not like us. I finally listened to that song by Kendrick Lamar, They're Not Like Us. And they're not like us. And we know why. Well, if you don't know, I just want to go over a few reasons why Hispanics, Latinos, everybody wants to give a different definition for who they are. But you know what I'm talking about. Well, they don't like black people for real. First of all, Mexico, Latin America, South America, and the Caribbean, all of those countries were colonized by Europeans. No land was left untouched by them. And they brought their white supremacist attitude with them. So those countries were colonized. Those people were beat down. There were a few European countries that were the leaders of those countries. And everybody else was a peasant or a slave. So we have to kind of get a perspective on Latin America and South America. They were colonized and the people were enslaved. Now the people brought from Africa were the ones enslaved. But the people that were already there were also either enslaved or they were colonized to the point that they might as well have been slaves. Latin America came up with a color chart. This chart is from Brazil. So you have the white people at the very top. They're called Cabolco. I'm not going to try to pronounce these words. Then you have the Moreno, tan or olive complexion. Then you have the Moreno Claro, light tan or olive, whatever that means. Then you have the mulatto. That's just a black and a white person mixture. And then you have the Negro. Those are the black people. And from what I am told, there are categories between categories. So the goal is to get as far away from black as you can get. So they have this system all over Latin America. That's how come they come up here saying, I know black, I'm Puerto Rican, I know black, I'm Dominican, I know black, I'm whatever they call themselves. But their culture is very anti-black. So the further you are away from African black in South America and Latin America, all of it is Latin America, the better off you are. So that's the first thing that you have to know about Latin America. Those countries were established with the same slavery, the same colonialism, and the same anti-black racism that America was established with. The difference is that America had the one-drop rule. So if you had one drop of African black blood, you were black. And I think that saved us. Some people say we need to get rid of the one-drop rule. Well, it might be now that we should get rid of it. I don't know. I don't care because I couldn't pass anyway. But that's what saved us in terms of not obsessing over race. We have plenty colorism in the black American community, but we still know that we're black. We still know where we stand. So we can go on and do other things the way we have. We have gone on and created a whole country. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we were working together as one race. So you got three races or ethnic groups or whatever you're calling yourselves. You won't work together because everybody's trying to be better than the other person. But we were fortunate enough that we didn't have that in black America. So we stood 10 toes down as black people and we did great. We have done great things here in America, being black. So that's how come you have people who come up here whose skin tone is not much different from ours, but they separated themselves from the darker skinned people in their countries. So they bring that attitude with them when they come to the United States. That's how come you can have a Dominican coming from the Dominican Republic talking about, I know black, I Dominican. Well, I hope we're at the point now where we can dismiss that kind of ignorance. But there's another reason why Latin America has so much anti-black hatred. During the Civil War, the Confederates, the plantation owners, the white people, there was the white and then there were the slaves, and that was it. So when the Confederates lost the war, those white people, many of those white people in the South, could not stand the idea that the 13th Amendment had freed the enslaved people, the 14th Amendment gave them citizenship, and the 15th Amendment gave the black men the right to vote. They couldn't stand the idea. They hated the idea so much that many of them moved to Mexico and other parts of Latin and South America. So they carried that anti-black hatred with them because they had lost the war and they had lost the whiteness that they were counting on. The second thing is that during the Second World War with Hitler hated the Jewish people, but he also hated black people. So he hated anything that wasn't pure white, as they call it. That's how come you can run up on white people talking about being pure white, which is laughable, but that's how they feel. When Hitler's army failed and they were defeated during World War II, many of the Nazi soldiers fled to Latin America. They fled to a place where they knew they would have the best chance of not being discovered because the Jewish people went after them. For many years, the Jewish people went after those Nazi war criminals. They're probably all dead now. But if they were still living, if they think there's even one of them living, they will track that joker down. That's how they've decided to do it. And that's the way you fight off your enemies. Down in Latin and South America is a hotbed down there for those Nazi soldiers who had run away after they lost that war because they knew they were going to be punished. But they didn't stay in Europe. They fled to Latin America. They carried those same racist, anti-Semitic, and anti-black ideals with them. And even when they procreated with darker-skinned women in those areas, they continued to instill that into their children. So that's another reason why they have this anti-black hatred. So, it doesn't hurt to know why people feel the way they feel. At the end of the day, it doesn't change anything, but knowledge is power. So they brought additional anti-black hatred and anti-Semitism to that part of the world. But the easiest target is black people because remember, the Jewish people found a way to fight back. We're going to put our money together and we're going to buy up everything we can, and anybody cross us, we're going to have a way to punish them. So they have leverage, and what that does is make people respect you even if they don't like you. I'm controlling this industry, and if you don't respect me, you don't get to work in this industry. Furthermore, I have friends who work in the next industry. And if you don't respect me, I'm going to tell him, and you're not going to work in that industry either. So they strategized by working together, and it also makes people understand you don't go around just treating me any kind of way because you're a racist. I haven't done anything to you, and you better not mess with me. So they can extract consequences on people that come for them. And frankly, I don't see anything wrong with that. But we haven't really gotten to that point, but we do have something. We have the gift of gab, and we have social media. Black Twitter is fierce and it's consistent. And when they go after somebody, and I get in on that too sometimes, something changes. You can make changes just by what you say, because don't forget, we are a $1.67 or $8 trillion economy in the United States. See, we're not sending our money back to Africa and down to Jamaica and all these other places. We spend our money here. And we are serious consumers, from everything to clothes, food, cars, all kinds of gadgets. We spend money, and money talks. So we take a lot of stuff that we really don't have to take if we wanted to do something about it. And we need to keep accumulating money. And like the Jews got their reparations, we need our reparations too, so we can fight back. Because what they say is we're hated because we're black, but we're discriminated against because we're poor. But we know what we can do when we decide we may not have a lot of money to put into it, but we have a lot of money to take out of. Black Americans generated $1.8 trillion spending power in the United States in 2023. If we just took a third of that money out of the economy, believe you me, they would feel it. And they would feel it hard. But we would have to decide to do it as a group. And we would have to be serious about it. So we always have a weapon whenever we want to use it. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that little bit of information. Those people are indoctrinated into anti-black hatred more than they are in the United States. And that's how come they bring that anti-black hatred up here, and they try to hook up with the anti-black white supremacists that are already here. This picture characterizes the racial ideal in Latin America. You have the black African grandmother with a biracial daughter who married a white man and produced a white baby. And she is praying to God, thank you, God, that I've got this black out of my family. They call it improving the race by making it white. So that's why they're all obsessed with skin color in Latin America. It's very sad. But in Black America, we have more pride than that. I like to think so. And I'm going to say this, and this is my own opinion, but to me, their obsession with race has killed their creativity. What have they invented? What do they have to show for being down there for 400 or 500 years, just like we've been? The music form that they have that they're proud of actually came from the Africans. Their culture is just like ours. Pretty much anything worthwhile from those cultures came from the African people. And that's just a fact. But they can't see the forest for the trees. But the world is changing, and we are changing. Knowledge is more available now, and we're getting our bearings. We're not our parents' children. We're not our grandparents' children. You can be as racist as you want to be, but you better not mess with me. That needs to be our attitude going forward, because we have more power than we exercise. Okay, y'all, thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day.